On my wedding day, my bride slapped me in front of everyone because I didn't give up my seat for her mother. She said, "Apologize or leave." So I did. I left everything. Now, the honeymoon is canceled. Guests are demanding refunds, and she's begging me to pick up the phone. Chapter 1. The empty chair. The ballroom glowed with golden chandeliers and overpriced flowers. A live quartet played some romantic classical piece that no one really listened to. It was the kind of wedding Pinterest dreams are made of. Immaculate, polished, theatrical, except for one chair. The second row, end seat on the groom's side. The chair where everything started to unravel was left unoccupied. And it wasn't by accident. That chair was mine. I was standing near the altar doing final checks with my best man. My palms were sweaty, but my heart was steady. I wasn't nervous about marrying Harper. Not exactly. But I was on edge, and the reason for that had platinum hair and a surgically tightened face. Her mother, Denise. Denise had been a walking tantrum in heels since the planning started. The venue wasn't grand enough. The flowers weren't elegant enough. And now, apparently her assigned seat wasn't important enough. She wanted my seat. The front row chair next to Harper's father, reserved for me during the ceremony. Why? Because I carried her in my womb. She snapped at the planner. I should be next to her, not watching from the side like some second-tier guest. The planner looked at me. I gave a calm but firm shake of the head. Number. That seat was mine. My name was on it. I'd already been told where to sit for the photo op post-vows. I wasn't moving because of her entitlement. I didn't expect the fallout to come so fast. 5 minutes before the ceremony started, Harper stormed into the groomsman's room, veil half-pinned and eyes sharp enough to cut glass. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she hissed. "You're embarrassing my mother." "By sitting where I was assigned," I said evenly. "You know," she wanted to be up front. "I'm not giving up my seat on my wedding day, Harper. That's not how this works." She blinked, stunned. Not by what I said, but that I had the nerve to push back. "She's crying," Harper said. "Crying because of your stubborn ego. You want that to be her memory of this day? And what about mine?" We stood there in silence. 1 breath, 2. Then without warning, she slapped me, a sharp, humiliating crack across my cheek. The groomsman froze. The planner gasped. Someone dropped a champagne glass behind us. "I'm not walking down the aisle unless you apologize," she said, voice shaking. "Either say sorry or leave." And just like that, the wedding dress didn't matter. The rings didn't matter. The 2 years of planning, deposits, tears, fights, and compromises didn't matter. Only one thing mattered now, that empty chair. I looked at her, looked at the spot where I was supposed to sit, and I nodded. "Okay," I said. "I will." She smiled, thinking I meant, "I'll apologize." But I didn't. I turned, walked past the groomsman, past the planner, out through the back doors of the venue, and I left. No shouting, no tantrum, just a man in a tux walking into the cool afternoon air, leaving behind an empire of expectations built on emotional blackmail. And inside that ballroom, the chair stayed empty. But it wouldn't be the only thing left hollow by the end of the day. Chapter 2. The walk that changed everything. The sound of my polished shoes hitting the pavement echoed like a metronome of finality. Each step away from the venue was its own kind of vow to myself. The parking lot was nearly full. Guests had started arriving, dressed in pastel suits and flowy dresses, smiling and taking selfies under the floral arch. A few of them looked over and waved. Not realizing I was the groom, not realizing I was leaving, I didn't wave back. Instead, I walked past the valet stand, pulled out my phone, and booked a ride. Not home, not to a friend's place. I wasn't running or hiding. I was detaching. The Uber arrived 5 minutes later. The driver glanced at my tux. "Wedding?" he asked. "Was?" I replied quietly. He didn't press. Meanwhile, back at the venue, chaos, according to my best man, who texted me everything later. The delay stretched from 10 minutes to 30, then an hour. The officiant kept checking his watch. Guests began whispering. The quartet replayed the same 3 songs. Harper kept pacing behind the curtained entryway, asking the planner why I hadn't come back. Her mother, still fuming, told anyone who would listen that I'd ruined everything because of a stupid chair. But when one of the groomsmen finally whispered, "He left," everything stopped. Her father's expression darkened. The planner nearly cried. Her sister said, "Wait, like left. And when the photographer, who was trying to get candid footage for the wedding video, captured Harper slamming a wine glass against a table in rage, well, that part wouldn't make the final edit. I didn't answer a single call, not hers, not her parents, not the venue's number. I didn't even check social media, though I could imagine the updates. Wedding delayed, still waiting on the groom, pray for Harper. Instead, I checked into a hotel room, plain, quiet, peaceful. Then I ordered a burger and took off the tux jacket. It felt like I'd just escaped a fire, or maybe a prison. Around 11:23 p.m., my phone buzzed again, not with a call, but with a text from my best man. "Bro, I think you dodged a bullet. Everyone saw the way she blew up. Even her dad left early. Honeymoon's off. She's been calling non-stop. No one knows what to say underneath it." He sent a photo. It was a picture of the reception hall. Half the tables were empty. The cake was still untouched. And that chair, the one I wouldn't surrender, still empty. Untouched, just like the space where her dignity used to be. Chapter 3. What the guests remembered. What the guests. Weddings are supposed to be unforgettable. Harper's was just not in the way she hoped. The next morning, whispers had turned to full-on gossip threads. Group chats buzzed. Instagram stories were wiped clean. And a few bold guests even posted cryptic captions like, "Never seen a bride so unhinged." When the groom walks out and you realize maybe he wasn't the problem, sometimes a silent exit says the loudest truth. What they remembered wasn't the champagne or the decor, not the expensive harpist or the 7-tier cake or the petal-covered aisle. They remembered the slap. They remembered her screaming. They remembered how I didn't raise my voice once, didn't retaliate, didn't beg. I just left. The guests had arrived expecting a love story. Instead, they witnessed the climax of a toxic fairy tale unraveling in real time. Her childhood friend Sophie told people at the reception, "Honestly, I love Harper, but she's always been like this. She expects people to fall in line. I'm surprised he lasted this long," her cousin muttered over dinner. She slapped him at the altar in front of everyone, and he's the villain. Even her own father, a man who once offered to pay for half the honeymoon, was seen leaving early, coat slung over his arm, telling the planner, "Tell my daughter to grow up." And that's the part Harper never prepared for. She always believed she could control the narrative, that being loud enough, dramatic enough, would win sympathy. But she forgot one thing. Everyone was watching, and not just watching, judging. They saw her entitlement. They saw her mother's manipulation. They saw my restraint. And the image that lingered in every mind wasn't one of romance, but of a man walking out the door in silence, head high, leaving behind noise, chaos, and a lifetime of what-ifs. Even the wedding videographer, who Harper had paid extra for same-day edits to post on socials, canceled his final invoice. He sent her an email with the subject line, "Not everything should be immortalized." Attached was a single still frame, the empty front row chair. Chapter 4. The refund requests and the silence. 2 days after the wedding that wasn't, the venue manager called me. She sounded nervous, polite, but with that careful tone people use when they're about to discuss something awkward. "Mr. Warren, we just wanted to confirm that you won't be authorizing any additional charges. Mrs. Harper, Miss Jensen, tried to access the payment account for the bar tab and honeymoon suite extension." I laughed softly. "She's not authorized," I said. "She never was." "That's what we told her," the manager replied. But she didn't take it well. The dominoes began to fall. By midweek, the ripple effects of the slap had turned into a tidal wave. The florist demanded a partial payment from Harper's family for damages to an art she knocked over in her tantrum. The band posted on Facebook that they were sorry the bride canceled mid-P performance. The caterer refused to refund anything because half the entree had already been served. And the guests, they were furious. Some had flown in from out of state. Others had paid for expensive hotels. When word spread that the reception never happened, no dinner, no dancing, no speeches, the complaints started rolling in. Does anyone know if Harper's refunding travel expenses? She blocked me after I asked about my hotel reimbursement. Imagine throwing a tantrum so bad you ruined your own wedding. It was cruel, maybe, but it wasn't undeserved because she hadn't just lost me. She'd lost the performance, the validation, the applause, the spotlight, and without that, Harper Jensen didn't know who she was. My silence was its own story. She called 23 times in the first 2 days, then 15 more the next. By the end of the week, the text came in bursts, fragments of emotion and denial. You humiliated me. You abandoned me. We can fix this if you just talk to me. Please, just one call. But I didn't respond because I realized something important. When someone uses public humiliation to control you, the only real revenge is private peace. I didn't post. I didn't explain. I didn't even tell my side of the story. People saw what they needed to see, and the truth had already spread without me. The irony of the honeymoon. The travel agency emailed me a week later. Mr. Warren, the honeymoon package is still active under your name. Would you like to reschedule? 2 first-class tickets, 1 ocean view villa already paid in full. I smiled. Make it 1 ticket, I said. Same date, the agent paused. Solo trip exactly. And when I boarded that plane, calm, sun on my face, champagne in hand, I realized something poetic. She canceled a marriage over a chair. Now I had the whole row to myself. Final chapter. 5. The call she'll never forget. 2 weeks passed, no press statement from her, no Instagram comeback, no carefully curated healing post with soft lighting and filtered tears. Just silence. But not mine this time. Hers. The once loud bride with the perfect feed had gone quiet because the world had already made up its mind. And for once, no amount of curated captions could bury the truth that had unfolded live in front of everyone she ever tried to impress. The call came at 2:17 a.m. I almost didn't answer, but something in me, not curiosity, not kindness, but closure, made me swipe right. "It's me," she said. Her voice cracked like it hadn't been used in days. "I know," I replied calmly. "I saw the number." There was a long pause. Then, "Why are you doing this?" she whispered. "You're destroying me." I let that sit in the air for a moment, heavy, honest. "No," I said. "I'm just letting you feel what I've carried for years." Quietly, patiently. "Well, you called it love, and I called it surviving." She didn't respond at first. Then came a bitter laugh. "Everyone's turned against me. My mom's blaming me. The photographer won't give me the pictures. My maid of honor stopped talking to me. Even my job. People are whispering." "And what did you expect?" I asked softly. "You slapped your husband on your wedding day because of a seat in front of 100 people who now know exactly who you are when you don't get your way." I made a mistake. She said, "Can't we just start over? Rebuild the final words?" I thought about it. Not the offer, but the weight of what she was asking. Because what she wanted wasn't forgiveness. It was reset. The power to erase, rewrite, and control the narrative again. But that chapter had closed the moment she raised her hand, and this time, I held the pen. "We already rebuilt something," I said. "I rebuilt myself without you." She choked back tears. "So this is goodbye?" "No," I said gently. "This is thank you. You showed me exactly who you are. And you freed me to become someone better without ever looking back. So what do I tell people?" I almost smiled. "Tell them the truth." And I hung up. Epilogue. The last story told. 3 months later, I posted one photo. It was quiet, no caption, just me sitting on a wooden porch somewhere in the Amalfi Coast, holding a coffee, wearing a faint smile, and the chair beside me, empty. But this time, no one needed to give it up, because peace doesn't need company, just space. And that was the seed I'd finally earned. Was this justice delivered, or should the storm have gone deeper? Drop your verdict below. I see every comment. Like, if you believe silence can be power and share this tale with someone who's been wronged, subscribe to Walter's story, where betrayal meets reckoning and every quiet soul gets their roar. Masks always slip, secrets always surface, and revenge always has its hour. Stay sharp, stay unbroken, stay tuned.